I'm gonna actually put together sorry, it's been a whirlwind of a day. I actually put together some slides, so I'm gonna share the screen with you guys. If I can do that as a guest, I can't, right? Okay, there we go.
Oh, you got it? Because I can make you a, cool.
Yeah, hang on. Okay, hopefully this works. Okay. Ignore my disaster of a screen. Okay. So I do hate that I can't see you guys when I do it like this. Okay, so I first of all wanted to just thank you again so much for having me on the call. I'm really excited. I feel like, what did I do? Oh my God. Is it honestly impossible to look at you guys while I'm doing this? Does anyone know?
I think as long as you don't go full screen, you know what I mean?
Just don't put it in presentation mode, babe.
Well, I know it's not in presentation mode, but I still can't see anyone. But
oh, really? You can't see anyone now?
No, which I hate, but whatever. I'll just roll with it for now.
Okay.
Okay. Uh-oh. Not good. Okay. All right. So I know I just wanted to go ahead and get started with telling you a little bit about my story. For those of you that don't know me, I put some before and afters because I think it's so funny. But where I started from was just a place that I was really, really down and unhappy. I got pregnant and knew my husband for 2 months when I got pregnant, actually. I was really, 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 really lost. And I feel like a lot of my backstory kind of plays into the reason that I've had such a strong why and why I've been so motivated and driven throughout the start of this business and then going forward into my business now. Because I did feel like I never really knew where I was going as far as a career and a passion, but I did know that I wanted to do something great. I wanted to be excited about it. I wanted to be able to travel. I had big dreams of, I'd always go into these different jobs. I waitressed for 10 years, and then I thought I wanted to work my way up in the hospitality area. And I'd go into these different jobs with these big ideas of being discovered, and I'd travel the world, and I'd be a travel writer or whatever it was. But I never did anything to make that happen. I just sort of went through the motion. So I guess when I was 8 or 9 months pregnant, I was living in Hawaii. Things with my husband started getting, at the end of that pregnancy, things started getting pretty bad. I went through a lot of postpartum. We were going more and more and more into debt. So finally we decided to leave that situation and start new lives for ourselves. And I think this is important because this was such a big driving factor for me. When I was working in Hawaii, we worked opposite shifts. When we were working in, we had moved a lot of places, but then after that, I moved to Montana, actually, with my family, and we worked opposite shifts. I had to get up at 4 a.m. to go to work. I actually worked a couple night shifts, too, so on the nights that I worked before at the bar, I would sleep for 4 hours. I would take my son to drop him off via bus in the snow, and then get back on the bus and get back home at midnight or whatever it was. I never, ever saw my husband in Montana. And we actually decided to move to Portland, Oregon after we'd been in Montana for 2 years because we were just so unhappy working the opposite schedule. It was so hard on our family and on our relationship. And so the promise was we'd move to Portland, Oregon. We'd start our lives. We wouldn't work opposite shifts. We'd actually get to see each other. And then when we moved to Portland, Oregon, things were the absolute worst that they had ever been. We literally were even in bed together for, 2 hours a night because he bartended. We had one car. He got home at 4 a.m. and I got up at 5. He actually had to ride his bike for 12 miles to get to work. And then I commuted on the bus in the morning some days for 2 hours and dropped Eden off. Our life was in a really bad place. And as you guys can imagine, our stress and our the arguments that we had together were clearly not, it wasn't going well at all. And we, you know, we couldn't afford furniture. We were sleeping on a pad, not even a mattress, a pad that goes on top of a mattress. We didn't have a dining room table. It like chokes me up still, but I look back to those moments and I remember like sitting on my futon with Ryan and it was like the only piece of furniture we had in the house. And I had watched my coach, and I was like, okay, like I can't do this. I cannot do this anymore. I cannot work opposite shifts. This isn't happening. I had been thinking about this for a while, and then about making a change and trying coaching. And then I found out I was pregnant again. And I was like, God, if we can't afford to take care of our family of 3 and our relationship is already struggling, I need to take some action. So I talked him into it. I made him watch like Liz's coaching videos. What is coaching? It was still when Liz Hartkey was doing it next to me on the couch, and I thought he would never ever go for it. And for some reason he was like, okay, you know, obviously it's meant to be now, but he was like, okay, let's give this a shot. We'll go for it. But you know, if you can't make back any of your money when you invest in your Shakeology and yada yada, then we're out. Like 1 month you can't make it, we're out. We can't afford it. We had to put it on our credit card as it was, and I somehow convinced him to put both of our Shakeology challenge pack orders on our credit card because I wanted to do this, and that's what I heard I should do, and I believed in it, and I trusted my coach Dana that she was leading me in the right way, which was teaching me that urgency and showing me the importance of sponsoring my spouse account early on, which has played a huge piece in contributing to the income growth that I've seen throughout my business. So I think at the root, like I just said and I explained, my why has always been just such a driving force for me, and it has changed as my business has grown. But from day one, I decided that I was going to do this. I was going to create some change for my family. When I had moved to Portland, I was in a really miserable place with my career. I thought I had landed my dream job, to be honest with you. And it turned out to be a complete nightmare. And so that was really pushing me to not want to return to work after my maternity leave was over. And so I used that as my goal and my driving force, and being home with my family. And throughout my whole pregnancy with Luna, that's what I pushed for, that I wanted to be home. I didn't want to go to work. I didn't want to feel like I had no energy to give my kids. So I pushed really, really hard for that, because those times with, those times with Aiden in Portland were really, really rough on me. So my first goals in this business were to, like I said, to be home when I was due to take my maternity leave. So that put me at 7 months into the business. And at that point, all I needed to make was $500 to offset the cost of what it would be if I put both of my kids into daycare. And then offset that cost. So that was my goal. It was all I needed to do to make that even was to make $500 a month. Granted, that shouldn't have ever been the goal. And it wasn't. I wanted to actually get to $500 in 1 week period by the time I took my maternity leave. And I did actually hit that goal the week before. I think my paycheck was $520. So I was like really celebrating. But even throughout this time, guys, I think, and I don't think about this very often. I feel like someone said to me the other day, well, it's so nice. Your spouse has always been so supportive. And the fact of the matter is there were a lot of times where he was like, okay, like that's great. My income was most definitely not consistently at that $520 a week like it was when I pushed really hard to hit that goal. But there were a lot of times, because it was so inconsistent, that he was like, okay, like you're cool. Like you don't have to go back. We don't have to put him in daycare, but like get a part-time waitressing job or go back and work at night. And I put my foot down because I believed in this. I wanted to make it work. And I knew that if I was going back to waitressing, I would be involved in a bad environment for me. Something I didn't want to be a part of. And also that it would take time away from building this business. So instead of, when he pushed me hard to say, go back to work, go get a part-time waitressing job, I pushed back and said, you know what, like fine, I'm just going to prove that I can do this and I can make this happen, because I was so hell-bent on not going back, because I just saw how that was going to play out. And I saw how the argument too was going to play out with us in our relationship. So, like I said, really early on, I pushed. My first goal was at $500 a month, but I did want to hit that $500 a week by the time I got off my maternity. And then my other goals were to get my mom and husband to Emerald rank, because I wanted to get to Diamond in 90 days. That was my big thing. I wanted 90 days at Diamond, and to obviously hit Success Club 5 every month since I started. That was just a no-brainer. Like, I remember my coach telling me, if you want this business, then you have to hit the minimum. So I thought to myself, okay, if I can't hit the minimum, what am I doing? I have to work really hard. And if other people can do this and my coach can do this, then I know I can make this happen too. So those are my goals. And I loved it. I mean, the community really changed everything for me. So it was something that did make me, I know this quote's like super cheesy, but it's true. Like I was getting up early and doing the work on the bus as I was going to work, and listening to team calls with my headphones on, holding Aiden's hand on the friggin' public bus, walking home in the rain from my commute. Like, I did it all. Like, I showed up. And I think a lot of times, like, we look at people that have been in the business. I'm going to almost be in the business for 2 years at the very end of September. And it's easy to see like where they are now and not be able to look back and see what it took. And it took a lot of hard work, and it took a lot of sacrifice, and it took me showing up every day to make it happen. So I'm going to dive into the income side, because I know that's what Lindsay mostly wanted me to touch base with you about, like how I made it happen, what the income plan looks like. And like I said, my spouse account for me was a giant game changer. And I am so thankful that I pushed for that. And, for a long time I had, so just to give you guys an idea, my mom is on my weak leg and my husband is actually on my strong leg. So, I had watched a lot of videos about the perks and pluses and minuses about making that happen. And I can talk to you about your specific situation, but, for me, it sort of takes off depending on who your players are on your team and how your team's running along and what's going on. Everyone's situation is obviously different. For me now, I feel like it's getting to a place where it makes sense that I have my husband on my strong leg. And I can go into that more later, but in the beginning, it's really nice, I think, to build that immediate growth to have the spouse account on the weak leg, but there are pluses and minuses to both, like I said. So I never like to say one is better than the other. So just to dive into the compensation plan, I don't know how much you guys all know. I know there are newer coaches here too. Retail commissions is 25%. I think we all know that. The other thing is the fast start bonuses for me were something that I immediately pushed for right out of the gate. And I just put that, that's on another slide. I don't know how I let that happen, but the fast start bonus is, it is if you have 5 coaches that sign up within a 5-week period. So if you do that, then you get an extra $100. So that's another perk of signing up discount coaches. You're still going to get that commission for the coach, and then you're going to get that fast start bonus for signing up 5 coaches in a 5-week period too. And I always made sure that if I could, I made that happen. I got the coaches on board so I could hit that fast start bonus, because that extra $100 was a huge deal for me in the beginning. And then the cycle bonuses and how they work. So I actually found this little whatever gem over here on our website, but I feel like this explains it really well. So to cycle, your accumulated team volume has to equal 300, with 100 on one side and 200 on the other side. And then when you get to that point, that is deducted. And you keep cycling through however many times you can get through, and whatever doesn't go through, if you can't cycle 200 to 100, it does carry over so that you can use it in the next week. So from the beginning, I think it's really hard for us to, as our businesses grow, to get caught up into rank and what other people are saying our goal should be, and I don't know, all of the different shiny things, but you have to know what's going to be right for you and what is going to help you be successful. Guys, for a long time, it killed me because it made so much more sense for me to grow my spouse account. So, and I hated that, but it was what it was. And so I just continued to do it. Ryan really knew what was going on too, so it was good to actually have him in it, my husband in it, to be able to push me to put everyone where they should be in the right place, and to using the spouse account so that it can help you. And what I mean by it made more sense for me, and I'm just diving into more details to help explain, but it made sense because my volume was more the 1-to-2 ratio. So it was taking off in a way where I knew I could cycle more if I used his account than if I used my own account, if that makes sense. So if you have 2 accounts, and this is the reason, like I said, that my income has grown so quickly, you have to literally log into both accounts. You have to look every single day at where your volume is, left leg to right leg. You have to go into your volume report and look at which weeks your left leg and right leg volume are more that 1-to-2 ratio, where they're uneven, where you need to even them out, where you need to put people. And you have to be strategic about it. You almost have to think like, okay, is this person a discount coach? Is this person going to be a runner? Where can I put them to benefit the overall structure of my business? But also like helping people out on your team. You know, if you have runners, you don't want to just leave them discouraged either. And I hope I always think about that. You know, I want to help out my team as a whole. So think your team as a whole and operate from the heart, and that's going to do great things for you too. So I'm going to show, I hate showing my income and I hate that I can't see your faces, but I'm going to show you my income growth because I want to show you how it's taken off for me and how my spouse account has really benefited me. But so these, hers and his, that's my husband's account versus my account, month 1, month 12, and then last month in this business, and what it equaled last month was my highest so far. But for a long time, and actually this doesn't do a great job of even explaining it, I'm realizing, but they're almost even last month, but that's because I hit Success Club 22. So I had a lot of commissions, but just to give you guys a little bit of background on this, all of the income that's generated in his account last month was from growing the team. So that's, you know, it's all team cycle bonuses on his account, and it was a lot of income and team growth on my account. So you can see where it's really beneficial to actually work both sides of your business in that way. So commission, team growth. Okay. So these are some of the things that I check daily, or try to think about daily. At least but at the very least, I check my volume every single day in both accounts. I log in, I look at my left leg versus my right leg. I look at what the week in the month prior is projected to sort of look like, and I see if it's looking like it's gonna outweigh one side or the other. And it's so important to monitor that, because if you're not monitoring it, it's gonna become uneven. And, you know, we can't always control every single aspect of what our volume is going to look like. Obviously, different people are going to have great months too on the team. And, you know, you're going to get new players and you're going to have different things going on in your business, or someone's going to quit or whatever it is. But what you can do is make sure that you're checking in on it every day. And if you're running both accounts, it's so important to check both, because for a long time, I wasn't being as consistent with checking both accounts and making sure that I'm giving both the same attention. And then the volume report is something where you can check and see where the volume is coming from. And that sort of gives me an idea. It's nice to know where it's coming from, to have a better understanding of it. You can actually click on the number of volume and see the breakdown and see who on your team is contributing to the volume. A lot of times, you know, it's so important to understand that it's not all the people below you that are contributing to your volume, but it's the people also that are above you that are signing up new coaches and bringing new people on. And that volume is contributing too. So there might be people that you don't know, that their names don't look familiar to you. So by signing on and becoming aware of who the people are that are contributing to that volume, you'll be able to know, and I hate how this sounds, but you know, you'll be able to know who's on the team, like who you can reach out to, who you can encourage. And I think I struggled with that in the beginning, was really understanding that I was a part of the team. Like Dana, I remember always saying like, we're a team. And I didn't get it. But guys, like, you're really a team. And by encouraging other people on your team, whether or not they signed up before or after you or whatever it is, a lot of times you're growing your own paycheck too. And obviously that's not the whole reason of why we want to help someone, but it is going to contribute to making all of that happen for you. And then the sponsorship drill down is something that I check. I just kind of feel like I go in, I see what's going on, where the personal volume is, Success Club. I like to congratulate everyone and encourage everyone and let them understand that they're doing a great job, because it is really tough in the beginning to get through that period where you feel like you're doing all of this work and it's not really paying off. And you have to push through that and know and believe that in the end it's going to happen for you. I never would have thought, I thought, and I knew I could do it too, but it's so tough during those beginning stages. So all of the encouragement that you can give everyone on the team is so huge. I check the fast track bonus qualification. I monitor for myself how many coaches I signed up in a given time period. And then I sort of figure out, okay, if I've signed up my 5, then I can afford to put people on Ryan's account. And now I'm strategic about where I'm signing up customers versus coaches. So if I want to generate to the volume on my account, I need to hit Success Club, I'll sign up a coach. If the volume doesn't count, but someone wants to be a customer, I put them on Ryan's account as a customer. So just thinking strategically about where it's okay to just get that retail commission and where you can help the whole team and give them more volume coming into your organization. And then connecting with coaches, I feel like has been a huge game changer for me. And it's honestly something I love anyway. I think it's been so awesome to be able to just connect on a deeper level with our whole coach community. So, I have Katie, for example, on the team, and Katie has a bunch of coaches, and they have a bunch of coaches, and it's been awesome to watch everyone grow. And then reaching out to all of those people and connecting with them and helping them and encouraging them has been awesome, because I feel like brings everyone in and we become more tight knit. And then you can help show them how to build their businesses too. And I'll get into that later, but that's really what it's all about, is doing that duplication or teaching duplication. So new coaches in your organization are another thing you want to look at. Again, you can click on the left side where it says new coaches in organization, who their coach is, where they came from, and then connecting with all of those people too. And like I said, the daily volume standings. Okay, so really quick before I get into making it happen, Lindsay, do you want to stop me and ask any questions, or do you want me to continue on? How are you feeling?
I am loving this so much. Like, honestly, Kelli, I just want to stop and say that talking about money is never an easy thing to do, because all of us at the end of the day want to help people. And I just want you to know that you're doing it with like grace and in a way that I'm just feeling so fired up again about this business. Like, thank you for sharing. I didn't know all of that about your beginning story, like what your entire financial transformation. And I think sometimes even for me, it's like that feeling of being backed up against the wall that you experienced. Like it was this, or there was no other choice. Like this needed to happen. And I don't know, I feel very inspired. So thank you so much, and keep going.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure I was on the right track.
I think actually there might have been a couple questions. Okay. I think Meg answered one. Hold on. Meg already answered that one to Brenna. Let me keep going. Oh no, and then everyone else is just saying how awesome you are. Okay, you're good.
Thank you. I get so nervous talking about income too, but I hope this is helpful.
It is.
Okay. So making it happen. So these are things that I think about, and like I said, I've talked about a couple of these things already, but things that I do when I think about growing my income, and like Lindsay just said, my back was sort of up against the wall. I refused to go to work, so I really had to make shit happen no matter what. So the things that I always focused on that I feel like have really helped me is to grow the whole team. So like I said, reaching out to everyone in your organization and building relationships with everyone in the organization. Number 2 is planting a ton of seeds. I know Lindsay mentioned an information about the call that I reached Success Club 22 last month. I made it my goal, I think at Summit or maybe before. I think I've hit 23 months in a row now. I don't know. But I made it my goal to grow from, my first year of Success Club 5, my second year of Success Club 10. And then within the past 3 months, I said, okay, Success Club 22. And it truly is amazing what you can do when you decide and commit and put your mind to something instead of like pumping the brakes a little bit when you hit your goal. But also the way I've been able to make that happen is by just like, it's nothing crazy. It's just talking to people all the time. And I go through my messenger box and I make new connections and I talk to people and I just have, I see who's liking my stuff on social media. Actually, I didn't put social media on here, but social media has been a giant game changer for me as far as knowing who to reach out to and knowing who to plant seeds with. And I think a lot of times it's so easy to think like, oh, I'm going to invite this person and yada, yada. And I'm not saying that never happens to me. I don't reach out and I'm like stressed about Success Club or whatever. But I try, if that is happening, I know that's when I need to take a step back because I can't think Success Club. I can't think the stressing of signing up for a challenge pack. I can't think about even like the end result. It truly has to just be building relationships. And if you just focus on building the relationships with everyone that you can, then the good things are going to happen for you in time. So from day one, that was my thing. I went through my messenger and I was like, if I don't have any messages in my inbox when I go to sleep, I'm like sending a bunch just to make sure I still always have things going on. And knowing when you're planting those seeds and talking to people and building relationships, it's not only benefiting you as far as having people you're talking to and people to invite, but it's also bringing your things that you're posting on social media up in their feeds as well. So I've always thought about, no matter what it is, sorry, I'm doing something good, whether I'm helping people or putting my word out there or helping people see what I'm posting. I'm doing a good thing just by being a friend. And then number 3, expanding my network. And I went through a period where this was my biggest struggle. I remember Dana was saying, she meets all of her people in these mom groups. And I was like, how the heck do you even make friends with people in mom groups? And I just didn't get it. And I think, guys, the biggest secret with that is if that's a struggle for you, if you're like, where do I go? What groups do I get in? What do I say? You're overcomplicating it. And that's what I was doing. It doesn't have to be like people that are in groups. Like, were you in a group before you decided to do Beachbody? I wasn't. So like, I don't know. I always think about that. I'm like, well, the people that are in these Facebook groups are wanting to be in these groups to make connections and build relationships. So it's not that weird for them when you reach out to them. This is why they're there, and just building relationships with people in the group and then moving them over to your Facebook wall, kind of letting them watch you, commenting on their stuff. And that's where, you're going to have to do those things because if you don't do those things, you're going to exhaust your market that you have, your friends, and then that's it. Your business is done. So you have to get comfortable with making new friends and expanding your market. Number 4 was recruit, train, and commit to when I say there, I mean everyone's results. So the coaches you're bringing on, your challengers that you're bringing on, you don't bring someone on and just let them fly away. You bring them on and you do whatever it is that they need from you to help them be successful. So whether that's a challenger that needs to lose weight or a coach that wants to hit their own income goal or whatever it is, it's bringing people in and then training them to hit their goals and committing to them getting their results and seeing their successes. Helping, like I said, number 5 is helping everyone duplicate no matter where they are in your organization. It's going to do a lot of things for your business to help other coaches duplicate and not just yours. It's going to grow your team. It's going to grow your community. It's going to give your community a sense of more culture. It's going to just feel more exciting. It's going to build more momentum. So I think that's been huge, is just really reaching out to everyone. I can go into my sponsorship drill down and see everyone's name and just encourage and motivate and inspire however I can. Number 6 is obviously the vital behaviors, and it's so, so true. And I put number 7 as personal development, even though it's a vital behavior, because for a long, long time in the beginning, that was the last thing I did. And I think my business started really taking off when I realized that should be always the first thing I do. If you're not growing your mind and you're not filling yourself up, you're not going to be inspired to help other people every day. You just aren't, because this business it can be exhausting, and it takes a lot of energy to give your love and yourself and your whole heart to people every single day and to try to help create change for people. And If you're not filling you up, that's going to be exhausting and that's going to be discouraging. So personal development, vital behaviors, as far as we have to invite, we just have to, even though it's the worst part. I mean, do it in the morning for me, it's a thing I procrastinate most, still is. So I schedule it into my schedule at 6 a.m. Another thing I do with the inviting, just as a side note, but I don't let so I'm not going to pretend to say that I invite every day. I certainly don't. But if I don't, then, for example, it's been the holiday weekend and we're in the 6th day of September. I aim to invite 10 people a day. So I know that at this point in the month, I should have invited 60 people. So I actually made a list of 60 people. And I told Meg, as my success partner, like, by the end of this week, I want to have invited this many people, and I will show you my list. So having a success partner, holding yourself accountable for whatever your daily goal is, and then no matter if it happens or not, like at the end of that week, for me, that's been my thing is, okay, then this should happen. If I'm not at Success Club, have I really done all the invites that I always plan to do? And then number 8, when you're doing personal development, it's always learning, taking what you learned, implementing it. If it's about facing fears or being more creative or being more better public speaker or just being a better communicator, whatever you learn, just implementing that thing right away. Social media, just don't ever read something or listen to something and then just hold on to it and not exercise what you learned, because then it's all for nothing. And along the way, that's always been something like, I will not sit here for an hour and make a list of 60 people that I found have been liking my stuff on social media, and then that's in my invites. So don't waste any time. All of your time is so precious, and it has to be so intentional. So that for me is another way I make myself do my invites, is I know if I commit that much time to doing something, I'm going to friggin' do everything I set out to. And then at the very last, I had to put this out here. I actually asked my team this today, what changes have you seen? And also in my training, because at the root of it all, sometimes it's so hard to get caught up into the income growth, the goals, your back's up against the wall, you have to make it happen, you have to do whatever it takes. But at the root of everything, we're doing this because we saw a change and it helped us in some way, whether that's mentally or physically or emotionally or financially, whatever it is, or maybe all of the above at this point for me. But keeping that at the root of your heart and understanding that if you have a solution to something, then you can offer other people a solution too. So that's when invites become simple, is when you can really realize that you have something that you can help other people with. So I've committed to giving my customers my all and extras. And I'm sure some of the coaches on this team or on my team that are here can attest to this. Like, I used to give random things away. I wish I could say I was more consistent about it. I would love to have a whole system down. Unfortunately, the post office is literally my least favorite place with 2 children. But I have, given packets of Energize. I've given away Shakeology. I've sent cards, I've sent books, whatever it is, not just to my coaches, but to just people that were struggling, that were challengers, and not because I saw potential and it was even a weird thing, but because I just really wanted to help. So having that giving mindset, and then helping your coaches build according to their own goals and helping them, like we talked about, or I said in the beginning, build according to their goals. Don't let them get distracted by the rank and the shiny things either, and helping them stay on track with whatever their goals are. Developing trainings to help with where your coaches are struggling or where there is a need for more development. Challenge groups has always been a super big focus for me because I always wanted to feel like I was really, really helping. I didn't want to ever feel like I was salesy, and that was my thing. I got hung up on that for a long time. But instead of letting that stop me, I just said, you know what? I'm just going to develop my challenge group. I'm going to put together a guide. I'm going to feel really confident that I have something that's going to help people. And then obviously engage and get to those one-on-one conversations too. And then making it about people and relationships. We already talked about personal development, but I mean, this is something I think about all the time, whether I'm wanting to post on social media, or I'm thinking about what to post in the challenge group, or I'm thinking about what to say to someone. If I'm hung up on something, I always think, okay, you're getting in your own head and you have to switch to your heart. What can I give? Not what's going to make people say, oh, like, how, you don't think, how can I make people look at me? Like, how can I get more attention? You have to think, where can I help? Where can I help people? And if you can operate from that place, you can share a story that's going to help someone see that they're not alone, or offer a solution so that they know that they can make change too, then that's when you're going to be able to do great things. And that's going to contribute to growing your income and building a business that you're going to be happy and proud of, and keep you accomplishing your goals. So thirsty.
God, that was amazing. Does anyone have any questions for Kelli? She gave so much great information, like so incredible. Kelli, thank you. I feel like when I reached out to you about this topic, this is exactly what I envisioned. Like, I don't know, so many great nuggets. And I mean, I have my notebook right next to me. I'm hoping maybe you could share the presentation with me if you don't mind, because you made some really great lists on there. That'll be awesome.
Definitely.
Does anybody have any questions while we still have her?
Yeah, I would love to answer questions. I know some of this stuff can be confusing. So, were all the questions already answered? I didn't see any of them while I was speaking.
Yes, I checked. Anybody?
How did I get so lucky to get you? Where did I find you?
Oh, just team drop the cookie.
How awesome is this human, though? How lucky are we to know this inspiring human?
No, honestly, you did such a great job, Kelli. Thank you for sharing with us. And yeah, I mean, does everyone feel inspired by that? Yeah, because I know I am. Oh, someone has a question.
Yeah, I have a question.
Can you guys hear me?
Oh, now we can.
Okay, so I was just wondering, do you think that by not having your spouse, building your spouse's account, you can literally only acquire sort of half the income?
I mean, no, because what you do is you get to, I mean, your spouse account just really acts as the second business center. So I don't know, Sarah, we haven't talked about this much, but actually when you get 2 diamonds below you, you can open up a second business center, which is essentially the same thing as having a spouse account. So, you know, a lot of people that talk more about growing the income right away is like, that's the whole goal, is get to 2-star as soon as you can, get 2 diamonds on board, and then open that second business center so you can generate the double income. So, I mean, you know, some people are just fortunate to have that spouse account to build early on, but I definitely don't think it's not going to help you build double. I mean, I hope that answers your question, but I think I would just make that your goal is to get to that point where you have 2 diamonds under you and then open up that second business center. And then that's going to help your income really take off. And that's what a lot of people see, like the big shift in their income too. Is that what you guys would say too, Lindsay?
Yes.
Okay. Does that make sense, Sarah? You're essentially allowed to. Okay, good.
I was going to say that was a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also, do you run free groups, Kelli? I think that probably goes back to how you expand your market, which I know that you're active in the groups that you're in, your Facebook groups, but do you all, I mean, I could answer it, but I'll let you answer it.
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, I was like a giant partier, and I feel like I was really selfish, and I felt like no one was going to take me seriously. No one was going to even think that I had a big heart. Like, that was my big fear. And so I really felt like from the beginning, I had to offer people something where they could see that I had good intentions. And that I had changed for real and that I wasn't just weirdly trying to sell them something. So I ran a lot of free groups. Like I ran clean eating, like different workout groups, like booty groups, ab groups, like
your mason jar group. I love your mason jar group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that group is still open, by the way. I'm just like rolling with it because people request to add to it every day. So whatever, just anything. I think my most successful ones have probably been like the 5-day clean eating groups with butt moves, go figure. And then the crockpot group and the mason jar group have been good. But I did a crockpot and core this time last year, and that had like a lot of people with Dana. So it's definitely helped to build relationships, because then it kind of opens up the door too if you're like advertising it on your social media, like, hey, I'm doing a free crockpot and core or whatever, or just inviting people. Then people can see that we're your new friends that you added randomly. Like I add random friends all the time, and they can see what you're all about.
I love what you said too about tracking your volume. That was something that I didn't start doing. I should have started doing it earlier. And since I started doing it, I have a way better understanding of my business and understanding cycles better, because it can be confusing and daunting until you really start to see it happen, you know, and understanding your numbers, where they're at, how it relates to your paycheck and how that varies week to week. So that was a really good tip too.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by if you do have a spouse account, you have to be smart about where you're putting people, because I mean, sometimes it just unfortunately makes sense to build, if you're building for income, to build the other account. And I, you know, like I said, that was a tough pill for me to swallow for a while. And finally I'm back to the place where I'm like, okay, now everything's kind of, you know, working how it should, so I can go back over. But for a long time I was over in the spouse section for sure.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Any other questions? Great. Kelli, thank you so much. Oh, Carrie has one. I think I saw Carrie wave.
Thank you, Kelli. So I just had a quick question for you, because you helped me tremendously with that time when we were talking about like invites and inviting people. And I know that you shared like your goal is inviting 10 people a day, and you're not always inviting 10 people a day, but you'll set a goal for yourself for the end of the week. So can you maybe share with everybody how you go about it? You know, because I think 10 invites a day probably to some coaches sounds like, what? Like, I don't have that many people. Like, you know, I know it's based on conversation, and all conversations are different on where you're at with a person. So if you could just give a little bit of insight on how you handle it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so important to first say, I 100% understand that 10 invites a day sounds insane. Sometimes it still seems insane to me, but it happens because of, you know, now I'm about to be at 2 years. So when I say invites, I have a lot of people in my network now, almost 3,000. I've added to my network all the time, and I have a lot of people that I am following up with. So I count a follow-up as an invite, especially if it's like from months back. But I mean, what I do for when I'm the most successful with my invites, and this is kind of why I like the week goal, because I have to work myself up to it. I'm still not the person that loves to do the invites, but I know I have to, and I feel better mentally when I do them, obviously, because I have big goals, and it just really stresses me out when I don't just make the invites happen. But as soon as I do them, I feel super accomplished. So when I'm most successful, I have my big list. I literally go through all of my social media posts, usually if I don't have a big list going, I go back for the week. And this is why social media is so important to me, because it's really where I find the people that are following me and maybe have an interest in me. And if I'm sharing stories, like for example, I don't know if you guys saw the story I posted about my husband, and it was like holding hands, but it was something kind of more personal, and people showed up that like I haven't even seen. A lot of people showed up that I haven't even seen on my social media. So if you're sharing different parts of your life, you're going to really be able to reach different people too. But I make that giant list of people that I have where I feel like if it's someone where I've seen them come up, I'm having a conversation with them, I put them on my invite list and I kind of go through, and it's so casual though. Like I hate the like, hey, we're going to do a challenge group and it's going to be a 30 minutes a day, superfoods every day. And I used to do those. So like if you're doing that, whatever, superfoods every day, eating plan, yada, yada, like all that stuff. Like I hardly ever do that. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I'm just like, hey guys, or hey guys, no, hey, I don't know if this is your thing or not, but I sometimes I use this. I read this in Rock Your Network Marketing Business. I say like, hey, I'm about to go have breakfast, but real quick, like if you do a little urgency, then and then you don't have to feel like you're sitting in front of the computer, like waiting for their answer either. But real quick before I forget, I wanted to see if you by chance would be interested in this health and fitness support and accountability group I'm doing online on yada yada's day. And or if you had any health and fitness goals and might be interested in my support and accountability group. I never use the word challenge group because one time my husband was like, what the heck is even a challenge group? And I was like, you're so right. Who even knows?
My husband says the same thing. He's like, I hate that it's called a challenge pack. Why is it a challenge pack? And I'm like, I know.
Those terms out of your head. Like, don't use those terms. People don't know what that means. So
they don't.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. So I just always say virtual support and accountability group. If you have any health and fitness goals, what you think. Like, that's it. It's nothing crazy. And then from there, they're like, oh, what does that entail? And I know from there if they're interested in where I can take the conversation. But I make it like super, super simple because that way too, I feel like if you don't say, yeah, I'm interested to like, would you be interested in a virtual support and accountability group? Like, do you have any goals? What do you think? Then you're probably not even should be on my radar. But if you're like, hey, maybe like, what is it? I don't know. Then I'm like, okay, well, you're kind of interested. Like I can help you follow up. Does that help? Sorry, I'm losing my voice right now.
No, have a sip of water.
Was that helpful?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I read or watched something once that said, I don't know, if you would be comfortable inviting someone to a party or barbecue at your house, then you can invite them to a group. And I feel like I always think about that too. I mean, for me, I've moved around a lot, so I invite a lot of people to a barbecue because I just will talk to anyone. But that really helps me like try to figure out where I am in the relationship. But I do invite, like I said, most people that are interacting with me on social media, I invite.
How many times would you say you've had to follow up with somebody?
A lot.
A lot. That's what I find too. Like, okay, I'm just like, want to know if it's normal. Or it's like, you might be following up like 4 or 5 times and they're interested and, you know.
I do send like, if people disappear on me, I'll send messages where I say, hey, I don't know if like I offended you in some way. I'm really sorry. Like, I always want to help if you want me to help. Like, I always had your best intentions at heart. And then that really helps too. Or if someone doesn't respond, I keep interacting on Facebook with them, like publicly. So, and that kind of, keeps things rolling along. That's definitely something I do all the time. If someone doesn't respond and I like have them on my follow-up list and I notice they didn't respond, then I just write a comment on a picture or something. And,
all right.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm on a good path.
It definitely takes months. I mean, the people that are, signing up for challenge packs, a lot of times I feel like you get that first new coach rush of people that are like, yeah, I want to do what you're doing. And then you kind of go through a slump because you have to build up to those people to follow up with. And it does take 1 to 3 months most times for people to really decide to commit to it. So following up is like where it's all at once you start rolling, for sure.
And I think that's why it's important not to put on the brakes when you start to feel like stressed out and nervous. You got to keep planting those seeds. Because otherwise, if you end up feeling stuck, it's going to take you another 2 to 3 months to like build it up again. So it's like, even in those times where you have doubt, you just got to keep like pushing through those hard times to make it worth it in the end and get back to that place that you were,
Protect momentum.
Protect momentum. Yes, I love that. Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelli. Again, I really appreciate it. And I'll share the recording with everybody as well so we can share it on our team pages.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Love you.
Bye. Love you.